Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Real Talk, where we simply keep things real. My name is Robin, and guys, we are going to be doing things a little bit different this episode. At first, I was going to be like, oh, it's a special episode, but I'm like, I feel like every episode I say that. And that's not to say that each episode isn't special, but this episode is going to be a little bit different because okay, I'm just going to drop the bomb now. I went back to school. Yes, I went back to school. And so this episode is actually a homework assignment. But yes, I went back to school, and before you even say it, you don't need to say it, because whenever I talk to my mom or whenever she voice notes me or calls me during the week, she says the same thing. Robin, I don't know how you're going to do it, I don't know how you're going to do it. You have too much on your plate. How you going to do it? You gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this. You don't know how you gotta do it. And you know what my my response is each and every time? Well, in my head, of course. The Lord is my strength. And then also in the back of my mind, I'm like, I also don't know how I'm going to do it. But anyways, I'm back in school taking this amazing course called Afrocentric Perspectives, and it's being taught by the amazing Senator and Dr. Wanda Thomas Bernard. If you don't know her, I don't know what to say. Put her name in Google. I have one word to describe her: boss. She has co-authored some amazing books. Two of them, one is Afrocentric Social Work. The other one is Race and Wellbeing. So if you love reading like myself, I encourage you to go and check out those two books. So how did we get here? How is this a homework assignment? Well, within our first class, um, Wanda actually had us do this really interesting task. Let's call it that. No, let's call it an activity. And we basically drew a tree, and we started from the roots. We did the trunks, we did the stems, we did the leaves. And it was basically to kind of show a visual of all of the different things and people and experiences that has shaped who we are today. And she has encouraged us to talk about that and has titled that assignment, Whose Shoulders? On Whose Shoulders? Listen, if I'm actually butchering the name of this assignment, Lord help me. Let me just go back, because I'm pretty sure it's who's so wow, we're a mess already, but bear with me. I'm pretty sure, it said on whose shoulder. Yeah. Yes, it's on whose shoulder. Y'all know I got my tongue is tied. But yeah, so the roots represent our first experiences, the trunk, our early life, leaves, informal education, friends, peers, fruit on our tree, major achievements, and then even the buds, your hopes for the future. So, anyways, I only have 30 seconds today, y'all. I know, girl can talk on this podcast, but I only got 30 seconds. I mean, 30 minutes. Whew, slow down, Robin. Slow down. And so when she gave us the option to choose somebody that has had an influence or impact, I was like, oh, I know exactly who I'm going to choose. But then she was like, and the person has to be like Canadian. So I was like, oh, okay, I know. But as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, I know who I'm going to choose. And the person that I have chosen is Celina Caesar-Chavannes. And I feel like I'm butchering her name too, because to be honest, I rarely say her last name. I just always call her Celina. And for those of you who don't know who Celina is, again, um, she's a boss. um, she is an author. She is a public speaker. She is an educator. And I'm guessing she's mostly known for her role being a part of Member of Parliament um, within my hometown, Whitby, but also underneath Justin Trudeau's office as parliamentary secretary. And so it's just like, whoa, how are you standing on, you know, this individual's shoulders? And we're going to go back. We're going to go back in time because I feel like since the George Floyd tragedy, because that's what it was tragic, there's been a lot of talks now about anti-Black racism. And, there was this term being thrown around called wokeness. Like everybody was woke. They were awake, right, to things that people have been talking about for a hot minute, right? And whew, hmm. Sorry, I'm just reflecting and I'm just even seeing how far we have come as a society. So, the town that I spent a good chunk of my youth in is Whitby, and that's in Ontario. And, within a lot of circles, it was known as White Bee. And that's because the population was predominantly white. And it's just crazy how that has changed now, right? And so here we have Celina, gets elected as MP for Whitby, aka Whiteby. And not only is she Black, but she's female. And I guess like my mind and my eyes always gravitate towards things that I see or people that are doing the impossible, you know, because in my little high school mind, because this was years ago, right? I'm not about to age myself, but this was years ago. I was like, I've never even seen that. Like, there's not even any black teachers in my school. So who is this lady? And so to fast forward the story just a little bit, um, some of you may know, back in my hometown, I was quite active in mental health advocacy. And I launched one of the first peer support groups led by peers in Durham region. And it's funny because as I was reflecting, I'm like, how did Celina even show up to this? And I'm thinking perhaps somebody encouraged me to invite her, right? I don't know. It's just random. And she ended up coming. And I was shocked by that. Um, because again, once again, like I have always just, I guess, looked at her as in admiration, right? Because I was like, who is this? Who is this woman? Again, like doing the impossible. Like it's just, I didn't really have those kind of mentors and I didn't really have the reflection. I didn't see that in that town, right? Like I said, in my schools and in my activities and, even within healthcare. So it was just like, who is this Black lady? Who is this Black lady member of parliament, showing up to my little group lodge, right? And Celina was so humble and she was sick and she still rolled up. And she spoke to, the peers that were there, and she spoke about her challenges with her own mental health. And so that again blew me away because I was like, who is this lady? Because now, not only are you, a Black female member of parliament who has showed up at my group, but you're also talking about mental health, which is at that time, and it still is, but at that time, like, there was such a stigma. Like, I felt like I was the only Black person in Durham region talking about mental health. And I don't know if Celina knows or not, but that day I sat and I listened and I looked at her and I felt hope. I said, wow, like, I can do this too. Sometimes we think, oh, because of this experience or because of the color of our skin, we can't do X, Y, and Z. And I said, here is this lady in one of the most unlikely towns doing the impossible. And there's a few little nuggets that she has mentioned in her book, and I would really encourage y'all to go ahead and read it. It's called Can You Hear Me Now? And, she talks about a lot of the different struggles that she had within her leadership roles in parliament, a lot of different microaggressions, um, blunt racism, discrimination, and how she really had to wrestle with it, right? She talks about having to get to a point of saying yes to herself. And one of my favorite quotes, well, there's two. She says, "You got to learn to leave the table when love's no longer served." Mm. And another one she says is, you know, don't settle for less than what you want for yourself and for the people that you represent. And oh man, that last quote could be a whole podcast in itself, but for the sake of time, why am I saying that this is a shoulder that I'm standing on? Because Celina has, I don't even want to say paved the way, because people always say, oh, they have paved the way. I feel like Celina has put a light on a path that a lot of young Black girls didn't even know existed. And we share similar upbringings. She is from the Caribbean, just like myself. My family's from the Caribbean, and just the different dynamics and experiences that you experience when you come to Canada, and even kind of the pressure that is placed on you as being the one that, like, okay, we have come to Canada and now, like, it's up to you to make it. And so I could really, I guess, relate with that. And again, it's just, okay, this is Real Talk Podcast. Let me just keep it real. Let me just keep it real. Celina put a light on a path that a lot of us Black girls didn't even know existed. And Celina was a voice and is a voice for a lot of us. And the reason why I'm standing on her shoulder is because all of the work that she put in, and I'm talking about work that we haven't even seen, right? Because I'm pretty sure there's probably tears behind closed doors and people judging her. And, there was a lot said on social media and all of these different things. And it reminds me so much of, it reminds me so much of our ancestors and all of the different things that they endured just so we could be where we are today, and that is breathing, right? She stood up in Parliament with her braids on or in to shed light to body shaming that's occurring all across the world. But most importantly, like even girls going to school and being shamed about how they're wearing their hair, right? She spoke openly about her mental health. And I think lastly, which I think, a lot of us probably know her for, is she had some spicy words. We're going to leave it like that. She had some spicy words for Mr. Justin Trudeau. But that's just a reflection of her being unapologetic. And I feel like whether she knows it or not, that has given her the fuel that she needs. And so I see a lot of myself in her. And to be honest, even, my professor, Senator Wanda, because I look at these two women who were like, absolutely not. And then they act on that absolutely not. On like, this is why this needs to change. And to be honest, even 8 years ago, 5 years ago, a lot of us didn't even know or didn't even feel safe to say, absolutely not. And so it's women like Senator Wanda, it's women like Celina who, it's like God's grace, keeping them in that hot seat in the spotlight. But it's through their bravery and it's through them being, unapologetic, that we're realizing that we have a voice too, and that we can do this and we can make changes and we can honor our ancestors and we can encourage the upcoming generation, that we can shift things in Parliament. We can shift things in spaces that seem impossible to shift things in. And so it's ladies like Celina, ladies who have carried the weight or the responsibility of having to make the Canadian dream come true, but also sticking to their values. There's a lot of women like that were on my tree. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything that you have done, and thank you for remaining humble. Celina doesn't even know I got this like nice little I got this nice little what's it called? I don't want to say it's a certificate, but it was in this nice green Canadian government parliamentary folder. I can't even remember. I can remember. I just don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to describe it. Um but yeah, it was anyways, and it was on this nice fancy paper, and it had the stamp from government on it, and then, on the certificate it was recognizing, my accomplishment. And I have treasured that thing whenever I felt like giving up, especially when it comes to talking about mental health. Somehow that certificate or paper or folder would show up in my life again. And then I would be reminded, Robin, you're not alone. You're not only standing on all of those who have gone before you, but you're also standing on all of those who are going to go ahead of you. And I think for myself, there's this saying that I've been saying in my head actually a lot this past week. And I've been reminding myself, I'm for the people and not the masses. I just found that whenever I was doing something this past week, I kept saying to myself, I'm for the people and not the masses. And I think I'm telling myself that I never want to forget my why. I never want to forget my intention. And I never want to forget the people that I represent. And I guess that's why, that quote stands out so much to me. Not settling for less for what I want or even the people that I represent. It's just because she could have. She could have settled for less. But then as well, would that be a reflection of the people that she represents? So that is whose shoulders I am standing on, one of the many shoulders. Thank you so much, Celina, for everything that you have done and everything that you are continuing to do. If anybody wants to go ahead, and she's supposed to be having a course coming out at Dalhousie, so feel free to go on the Dalhousie website and find out a little bit more information about that course. Go ahead and read her book, follow her on social media. She's just a boss. She's just a boss. And I'm telling you, with the week that I just had, I needed to be reminded that it's okay to say no, especially if it involves you not settling. Another quote that, she mentioned in one of the articles, which I'll link down below, is, if you want crappy things to stop happening to you, then stop accepting crap and demand something more. That's Celina, y'all. That is Celina. Just blood clear, cut to the chase. Like I said, I can't even say it in this podcast what she told Justin Trudeau, but you go ahead and Google it and you will find out. Anywho, thank you so much for listening to another episode of Real Talk, where we simply keep things real. Don't forget to follow on Instagram, Real Talk Podcast with Robin. You can also find us on YouTube. And guys, I have launched my shop called Colecciones Robin. So go ahead and check that out on Instagram as well. The website, coleccionesrobin.ca. Um, all proceeds from your purchase go towards supporting women and children across Canada. I've also just recently released a book titled Sisters, a collection of stories from sisters like you and me. It is free because hope is free, and I just wanted to make sure there was no barriers in women receiving that truth. So please support and share. Feel free to get your free digital download, or you can go ahead and send myself an email for a printed booklet. Which reminds me, I think I may just send one to Celina. Alrighty, y'all. Have an amazing day. And I love you. I appreciate you. And do me a favor, be unapologetic. Alrighty, take care, y'all.